All set?
Mm-hmm.
You're fine. No. You snooze, you lose. Keep feeling always on top of it. Right, thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you. So we will, Eric is out. He has a work commitment, so he asked me just to sit in his place today for that. Do we need a motion to start the meeting or anything? Just start it? All right. All right, so I did send out the minutes from last meeting. If everyone had a chance to review those, any questions on them or anything like that?
Can you turn your microphone on, please? Thank you. Yep, just there you go.
You have to forgive me, I'm technically challenged.
You're good.
So is that you making a motion?
Pardon?
Is that you making the motion?
Yes.
Second?
Second, Mark?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, good. So we talked about the RFQs, which that has also been posted as of April 1st. It got posted on the town website and through New Hampshire Municipal Association. I did have one company send me an email inquiry. They were just looking for more information on it. So I gave them that information, hoping for obviously a few more. We'll see if anyone's. I have reached out to a few companies just via email too, saying, hey, we're accepting RFQs in hopes that someone might, more people will participate. I know Eric had mentioned before that it is kind of starting to be, a lot of these companies are busy, so some of them might not be accepting work. Hopefully we'll find at least someone reasonable and reputable to work with. So if anyone has any friends anywhere, please reach out to anyone that you guys might know. So as it stands right now, the RFQ schedule, advertised initially, I'd submitted to Andrew on the 31st. It was posted on the 1st. There is a non-mandatory meeting that Eric and I were going to sit in just here in case any of these companies wanted to just have a informational setting. It's on Friday at noontime. No one needs to be here. Eric's busy for that. Letty has agreed to sit in with that with me. The deadline for the RFQs is April 30th. They're supposed to be submitted to me, whether email or snail mail. Committee review. So we'll take a week once we get them all, if we get any, to review them.
If we don't get any?
That's a good question. I would say probably. I would say probably extend the deadline.
Do they have any, the ones we looked at, some of the others like Danville or any of that contract?
So that's what I've been doing is I've just been going through companies that have done some work in the area and just emailing them saying, hey, we're accepting RFQs. If you guys are interested, here's the link with the document and the outline. And again, I know everyone's busy, especially we have Easter and stuff coming up. It's spring. It's been raining. Everyone's probably behind schedule right now because of the rain.
The
So
housing market, the whole thing right now is
everything's a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah, everything with building is an absolute mess.
just happened, just the tariff thing.
Yeah.
Right now, they're all going crazy. You have no idea what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Lumber, for example, there's a good chance lumber is going to come back.
Yeah.
And that will make.
Well, this
big-
RFQ, you're looking to select a vendor, not,
Yeah.
I understand that,
design.
but I'm talking about.
in a way, just, I can interrupt you for a second. I'm looking, this RFQ, it appears as if you're looking for a vendor. It has to be a big vendor because it's got to be just,
One-stop shop.
5 buildings in the last
Yeah.
5 years. Does that restrict the vendors available? I don't know how many, I don't know what the
Yeah.
vendors are out there. And I think it's also, without a price, I'm very reluctant to say, okay, yeah, this guy looks qualified, but is he looking for $1 million or is he looking for, $20 to do the work? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yep.
And the information that's listed here is a reference to the document page, which is at best confusing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got everything on there from the $28 million bid put into other pieces. And the question I have going through this is just, as a committee, one, what's the charge of the committee? It started out as build a police station. Now it's turned into a municipal complex. Is there a list of wants
Yep.
for buildings or rooms? Just looking through, I don't know if it's needed, but is there you need a jail cell or two in your holding area in a police station?
Yeah, we won't.
It's not listed, and I didn't know. I just thought you've
But
got
you
an
do have
interrogation
a
room,
secure place that you'll be able to.
but it's not,
people if you need.
that's not listed as any holding area.
I think
Right.
that's what we're talking about. You've brought up a few really valid points.
But, yeah, I'm just trying, I was looking at the RFQ
Mm-hmm.
and thinking if I got that RFQ, all I'm gonna do is send you a bunch of resumes and you can figure out, are we qualified, but it doesn't, I don't see how they can give you any more than say, yeah, we can do this for you.
Yeah,
So that you tell us what you want.
that's
and it-
exactly what we're looking for. We're just
and
looking
the
for
one-
people who are qualified to do the job. And then we can get into those lists
I
of,
think the problem I have is to do the job, and you haven't really spelled out in my mind what the job is. Is it one building? Is it a standalone building, police station? Is it two buildings? Is it one big building? Is it gonna be, site work was looked to be included before? Is it pave over the whole place out there basically for parking spots?
Mhm. Basically what we're looking for is all three of those.
It sounds
So
like.
we're gonna put out all three of those proposals, and we're gonna let the voters decide which one that they want.
Well, I think that's a mistake, but that's my own opinion. I think that I think the town was very much in favor of, as I looked at it, there's wants and needs, and I think there's no question there's a need for new fires, or new police station.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question in my mind, that's number one. I think having a new town hall, it might be nice, but I think that if it came down to, I would hate to lose a police station because something else is tagged on that people don't agree with. Because I
Well-
think that's what's
That's,
needed.
but that's what you just said, Mark, right? Is that
And it's just
Yeah.
a matter of what the costs are for
Yeah,
the pieces and how much money we're gonna spend on pieces.
to really nail down, and this is just simply my opinion, and we may share it, and we may not. To really know what the people of Brentwood want, it's going to take the people of Brentwood to vote on it.
Well,
And if you give them the option and give them the knowledge of these are your three options, here's the knowledge that goes behind that, make your decision and vote appropriately.
I think the gasp when it came out was it said $28 million.
Yeah, forget about that
One
number.
proposal is what
Yeah.
people have in their minds right
Yeah, forget about that number.
now. And
Yeah.
Yeah, we've tried to
it's a-
make it as clear as possible. That number was.
it's a question in my mind is how do you present it so you don't have people saying, I want this one, I want that one, because you need a 60%. So.
Yep.
you've
I
got-
do think it's important
You
that
gotta
we,
be careful how it's presented, so you're not dividing the vote between three things, 'cause
Well, the idea being that you're going to cut down by doing the three proposals, then you're giving, because otherwise you're gonna vote down the first one, then you go to the next one, and the next one.
Right.
So the idea of this was to prevent that from happening. Am I correct?
Correct.
I agree with
Yeah.
Eric. I think it's a mistake. I think we should come up with one proposal.
but,
I think until we know what the cost of any of this is, it is all just
It's all
speculative.
speculation.
I do think it's important that if we come up with the three proposals, that we as a committee recommend one.
Oh,
Sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure, we can have. that
Ultimately, the
dialogue.
people have the option, to vote on it, but we as a committee need to recommend one of the three.
And the budget committee needs to recommend, and the planning board.
Correct. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think the planning board would recommend anything.
Would
Just let you know that they're very judicious and very conscious of their role within local government, and that would not be part of their role.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
just,
might be more of the selectmen than the.
correct, it'd be a budget
Planning board.
committee, a select board issue,
Probably what I.
but I don't, you could ask them, I'm not saying, but I'm
No,
would warn you that
I
you're,
stand corrected.
they probably would not.
Oh, it's a little complicated these days.
You're fine.
So,
I think getting back to my original question, and it was basically, this RFQ is gonna select somebody to sit down then at that point to come up with what we want.
No, we know what
No,
we
an
want.
estimate,
We've
No,
already,
that could-
we've
An
already done
estimate for
that.
what?
But so if you go onto the website,
Yeah.
it shows all of those things, the list of the spaces that are needed,
Right.
how much square footage.
Who was looked at that and approved it?
Just,
This,
Because I've got questions at that. Said, look at those spaces and approve it. You've got a training room. It's got
Uh-huh.
140 chairs in it.
yep.
How big's the police department gonna be?
So trainings, I know that one of the things that they do is they have people come in from outside and then we get the class for free.
so, yeah, we
hold
often,
the training.
we don't have a space to do it right now, but if we could host, the example I always use is like a leader training, which is a leadership training, which brings in about 40 to 50 students, and it usually costs around $1,000 per class. By hosting that, we would get usually 2 to 3 free seats. So if we had the adequate space to do that. So that's the goal of, will it be 140 seats? That's, might be a bit excessive, you know, but we
And
can certainly work with having a training room that could host, you know,
And on a-
whatever the committee decides is a decent sized room.
I mean, in looking at that space, you have, according to the space drawings, you've got a kitchenette area with microwave and stuff, but in this training room, there's a full kitchen.
So that's the other thing is, you know, you get your Taj Mahal, if you will, and then it's the job of the committee to decide what are the needs versus the wants.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
but that's what my question was, who approved spaces? And on the flip side, I was looking at the office space. The break room's got 18 chairs, but the office space has got like 8 chairs, which doesn't seem enough.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking.
No, I get it. Yeah. So
I guess the first question,
Yeah.
one question. I'm not, what size, what's the anticipated size of the police department in the future to fit into this building? Are we looking for, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've made it pretty clear that for the next couple of years, the police department's going to stay status quo. I don't
Which
expect.
is, how many?
Right now we have 9 full-time sworn, and then 3 part-time. So I don't expect any major growth short of securing a grant that covers a
Right.
position. You know, I don't anticipate putting anything in front of the voters anytime soon for that. So I don't think this will ever be a town that has 20 sworn officers. You know, I think this town will eventually hit its growth mark, and that's where Brentwood's just going to lay in that.
Okay.
In
I'm
that
just
area.
looking,
You know
so
what
we're
I
looking,
mean?
say,
Yeah.
a building that's gonna be for, say, 15.
So, and I think what ended up happening with this Sampson or Weston and Sampson, whatever it is, drawing is, I think there were some discussions that weren't done with the committee, and this number that we mentioned came out, which took everyone by surprise. And I think that they just kind of threw some things together based off other projects that they had, and we got a pretty terrible product, to be honest with you. And
I think it's hurting more than it's
yeah.
helping.
So, and I think that's why now we're trying to move forward.
But it's out there.
Yeah.
It
We're
is.
not gonna hide a public
Nope,
document.
we
Exactly.
certainly are not.
So, but now we move forward with this RFQ, and we have done our, list of needs and wants and stuff like that, to then find a company that can actually put a feasible plan on paper for us, that then we can put on the website to say, okay, this is the nonsense that we know that we've all seen. Here's actually what we.
Well, that's what I'm
Are
really
going.
trying to find.
Yep.
I looked at all the paperwork that was on the documents.
Yeah. No, and I
Some-
appreciate
Some
you
of it
bringing it
was
up.
like, that's good, some of it maybe.
Yeah.
like,
But
I
it
wanted a
gave us.
basement, I didn't see a basement in there at all.
Yeah,
any
and
of
that
the
was,
restaurants.
it gave us a starting point. It
Yeah.
wasn't the starting point we wanted, but we didn't have a starting point either. So, at the time we had a committee member that was familiar with this particular company, and, it was, again, I am not happy with the product that we got, and I think everyone's
It's not
of the same opinion.
clear
with that,
what
but-
level of communication they had back then.
Exactly, that's why I think there was some communication being done behind committee doors and stuff like that, but I can't.
Okay,
I don't know
I
that
was
for
looking
sure.
through, like, this is in the documents.
Yeah.
The first time I've seen it.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I'm reading through, I'm going, some of this doesn't make sense.
No, you're,
So
There-
that's why I'm bringing a question up.
No, yeah, that's yeah.
And the other thing I have, another thing is the fact, is there any requirement for construction for hardening the building? Some of it, a lot of it's sheet rock, Does it be a block construction? I don't know what
Yeah, I mean,
requirements would be, but I didn't see those sorts of details in there where they talk about construction in there.
yeah, and I suppose that would hopefully come with a meeting with the vendor, right? We'll
But
call
I
it
don't know
that,
if there's
but-
any requirements for it versus,
They would have to
versus
follow
wants.
whatever laws there are.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you can have a stick-built police station. You know, what I mean, it doesn't have to be insulated concrete. Doesn't have to be brick. Doesn't a structure is a structure. It obviously just has to meet fire code and
right, well,
CJIS
right. I
compliance,
didn't know
all
if there's
that,
any
so.
difference for policemen. Fire
Yeah.
code is just, whatever, but
Yeah,
it's not the same for security type
yeah.
problems.
I mean, the goal is to get I think the standard is a 50-year building, right? So
Because just for security looking at stuff, I worked at Seabrook Station.
Yeah.
So security with requirements were a little different for a lot of places.
yeah, and where we have a standard that we have to meet, so that would obviously having a vendor that's familiar with that standard would ensure that standard.
No, I would
You know.
just said, I was looking through all this.
And don't forget Seabrook Station is now 50 years ago.
What?
Yeah, I did too, 12 years. And that was 1974 when it started.
But no, great points to bring up. Thank you.
1983, I started.
Anything else on the material any more on that topic? Material that we have out there? Again, just trying to find new material.
I have a question. Is the site next to the rec center, next to the pavilion, is that a set thing? And when did that get conclusively decided?
We had spoken about that site probably more than a year
At least
ago at
a
this
year
point.
ago.
Yeah. And so that seems to be the most feasible site to use. I know when Kip had dug some test pits and stuff out there, the ledge was cooperative. There was a lack of ledge. There wasn't any issues with the water table. So as it stands right now, that is the
And
preferred
it's
site.
and it's free because we
And
already
it's
own
free
the
because the
land.
town owns it.
Has that been perked out there? Is there septic requirement or acceptability out there? Because you need septic and water.
Yeah, there would be,
Ask the test pits.
yeah.
They had the
That would,
test
that would
pit.
have
They
part
had
of the test pits.
Yes, it would.
Anything else?
No, I think those are extremely valid and warranted questions, but I think it's a bit preliminary until we get any type of plans.
That's what I was trying to.
Yeah, no,
look at,
100
is
I
what
get
the
it,
R-
and-
What you're looking to get back from the RFQ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I would hate to see them come back
yeah, we're gonna have those,
with the price and the stuff that I looked at.
Oh no.
Out quite.
I'm anticipating that whoever we work with here is going to work a lot closer with,
yeah.
Be involved, yeah.
be more involved.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons I think why the dual building was suggested, because of that. Like if you look at that floor plan that you were looking at, there's two giant meeting rooms pretty much next to each other. We don't need to.
No,
So
no.
You know, if we went on the dual building, it would be shared spaces. You know, you can share a meeting room that can double as a training room. You can share a kitchen area. You can share a lot, you know.
but
So-
that would be a question for the
Yeah, exactly. So it's just ensuring that the town is getting, one, the most bang for the buck, but two, the best possible product. I mean, there was talks too about potentially if we went the dual building way, selling this building, getting it appraised and stuff like that. So these are all just topics that we've covered in the past.
So have we solicited RFQs from the most recent projects that have been done around the state?
Working on that now.
We'll just see what comes back.
Yeah.
And if we don't get anything by the deadline, or what we feel isn't enough by the deadline, then we'll adjust.
What do you expect to get back? The list of personnel? You're not looking for a price.
No, we're looking for qualifications of someone who's qualified enough to do the scope of work that we want done.
basically a resume for a company.
Yeah, you're basically submitting resumes to build something. That's what an RFQ
I've
really
built
is.
this many police stations and this
Yeah.
many fire stations.
Yeah, an RFQ is we're hiring.
Yeah.
You know, we're hiring advertisement. So we'll see who accepts. Now, you read off some of the qualifications, and if we don't get the significant or enough applicants that we feel that we should have gotten, then we can cut some of those down and resubmit the RFQ. But I wouldn't panic just yet. We'll see what
No,
comes in.
it's still early.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll see what comes in.
most of these companies, I'm sure what they do is they hire interns to seek out these opportunities for them, and then they discuss it amongst themselves. So I have a feeling if and when the time comes, it'll probably be in the 11th hour.
What's the deadline? What do we have as the deadline on that?
The deadline is April 30th for the committee to review between May 1st and 7th.
And do we have any submissions so far?
No submissions yet. Like I said, I had one company out of Concord that just sought more information on it.
Okay.
We at least know the word's out there, and I've been inquiring with other companies.
Yeah, I don't know how many we'd feel that would be appropriate. At least 3 or 4?
Yeah.
It'd be great to get more than one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we can get the more, the merrier, obviously. If I'll be happy if this committee can have multiple to narrow down to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to get a bit of flavor for
Yeah.
what we'd feel would be appropriate for the amount of submissions.
Yep.
I've got a question on procedure, I guess is the right way to put it. The last meeting, this was a draft.
Yep.
Now it's been issued.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, would the committee vote the issue, or is it just, we looked at the draft, there was comments made last time, and now it's been issued with, as far as I can tell, the committee never blessed off on it.
We did talk as a committee to, if everyone had no input and stuff like that, then we would consider it a good to go. And then I
think we
emailed it
did
out.
vote on that.
We did.
Yeah.
I was gonna
We
say,
did,
Yeah.
and it was something to the effect of, it had Andrea involved in it?
Yep.
There was.
Because the select board
And
had to
it did
approve
go to
that
the select
RFQ.
board that
Yeah.
night.
We were tentatively waiting for the, the meeting, the town meeting, to choose these 3 options.
Yeah.
And then that was the understanding we were gonna go forward at that point.
Yep. So the committee did have input, and then the select board
Alright.
approved the final draft, and then it was.
So it went through the select board for approval.
Yep.
No, we did approve it. There
But
was
the-
an
yeah, the
motion
committee
to approve it
itself, yeah.
here,
Okay, I missed
and,
that then, okay.
because it had to do with select board approval,
Yeah.
'Cause I think
contingent upon select board
Technically,
approval.
only the select board had to approve, like, you don't,
We're advisory.
this board has no authority.
Yeah, right, we're invited, right.
Has the non-draft RFQ been
Sent out.
available someplace?
Yeah. It's on the website as well.
I mean, for us to look at,
Yeah, I emailed it out. Were you not on that email chain?
thanks. If I did, I missed it. Because I got everything else, but.
Yeah. If I did miss you, I apologize.
Okay.
We don't have like a set group for the email, so I just have to usually look at the list and say, okay, these people are on it, and then go through my contacts. So, but I will send it out again.
I suppose you could.
What is it, that document end up in the document pile, if you will, on the webpage?
Yeah, it's on the webpage.
Yeah, it should be under I think it's under RFPs and bids, probably.
No, with all those documents, the link here got me to a bunch of documents in the RFQ. Is that where this,
When you
Would
say
end up-
link here, what link are you talking
I
about?
think it's the link that was listed in the RFQ, which I think came Brentwood government. It's drafted, I think it's documents that came through.
I think so. Hold on, let me check.
So the link on the RFQ will bring you to brentwoodnh.gov to the document center.
Okay.
It's under documents.
That's where I thought everything was.
Yeah.
There's also a separate URL just for this project that has all the documents there as well.
And what is that?
brentwoodnh.gov/new building.
Oh, in that same list of documents?
It is also under town projects.
Wait, can you go back at town projects and Brentwood new NH dot?
Gov/new building.
Which will bring you to exactly where you need to go.
Okay, I'll put it in right now.
You have it. You have it.
I am doing it right now. I did. It's probably under like wherever the bid
Yeah.
page is, but I will put it in both places.
Eric, I did send you the RFQ again.
Mhm.
Is that who did? Northampton.
Northampton's the police and fire put together, and then
Mhm.
something behind that they also
Police
did.
and fire, and then there's town offices like,
Uh-huh.
on either side.
Did they,
That was the 10, 11 mil. Sort of
Ish, yeah.
yeah, but I believe the police and fire were like 7.
That's all?
Because didn't they do work to the library or something?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did,
but-
they did,
Well,
they did do work to other buildings, so the
Yeah.
total
Yeah.
price was not just for that building.
Yeah, sorry.
But still, it was pretty, compared to the only.
That's
other
why
one
we're
we
trying to
had.
get to that
I would like to
$28
go on a
million
field trip.
figure out of
I
people's
know,
heads.
it's hard to get out of your head, though.
Well, just get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out.
It
Get it
helps
out.
to not bring it up anymore, knowing
Yeah.
that we've discussed numerous times that number should have
It's
never-
still gonna keep coming up
Yeah.
though, and so we just need to
Yeah.
be ready.
Move on.
If we wait long enough, it will be 28.
So any other further on anything of that nature? No. So a project schedule that Eric has outlined right now is, in a perfect world, we get some good applicants here, so we'll do a notice to proceed come June, kickoff workshop July, and then submit a draft report and then public information session. So once this committee is able to get information in hand, the goal is going to be to get it out to the public as fast as possible. We'll do, a public session, information session again. Let the people come ask the questions. Hopefully at that point in time, we'll have the goal of, the 3 presentations, if you will. And then that way, again, getting information out early, and as much as possible is, I think, gonna be the true goal of this committee when the time comes.
I think the summer's problematic, though.
Summer's always a problem. I mean,
Probably-
no matter what season, unfortunately, we're gonna find a problem, whether it's gonna be, summer, fall, back to school, winter holidays, spring,
Yeah.
rain, like.
Town meeting.
Yeah, town meeting. So, unfortunately, it's what we've been dealt. Life's busy.
Now, the scope of this work, besides presenting these 3 buildings, or if you will, 3 plans, it's also in here the fact that they're supposed to develop planning costs for this building. So they've got really 4 projects.
Potentially, yeah, that was if to see, whatever deficiencies are here, if we do that, again, just to see like, hey, it might cost you this much to rehab this building to make it, ADA accessible, all that, utilize the downstairs space, blah, blah, blah.
I think we could
You know.
concentrate
So there's
on
really
police
4,
station.
there's really 4 deliverables you're looking at.
No, I think this building would be if, renovating this building would be if it's a PD only building.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think so.
And then moving town offices, okay. so
Yeah,
my
because
mistake.
then town offices would take, right, because you were saying stay here,
Yeah,
because that would obviously be part of that.
yeah.
Like, you've got a requirement to develop, planning level costs for renovating the building. And I'm just wondering so you're really looking at,
So you were saying that you think the focus should be on police department, which is fine, and that's gonna be one of the
I'm saying
options.
we've got 3 buildings, or 3 options we're looking at to start.
Yes, and one of them includes renovating this building to house town hall and building just a police department.
That's separate from those, as I look at it, you've got, we'll say for talking purposes, at the BRC, you're looking for 3 options. A police station standalone, a town hall standalone, and a combined
No.
building.
No,
No,
No, we're not.
Yeah, police combined, and then police with a future build out.
Okay.
Like, make it big enough to put the,
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
think
but
But you have to know where you stand with everything in order to move forward, so we
Right.
have to know what it would cost to.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah.
I was looking at this
Yeah.
oh, as a
So-
separate, yeah.
as 3 options up at the BRC
Right.
space, and a 4th option is this space, and I
Yeah.
didn't
The
read it the
space
way
is
this.
not available for both of these functions.
No, it's not. We tried that. And then let's see.
Can we go on a field trip on Thursday?
Yeah, so, Letty would like to go to the Northampton Police Fire Station to see what the.
Because that was done kind of recently. I think
Yeah.
that's the only one near us that was done relatively recently.
Yeah.
The only other one will be Bristol, which is a little bit of a drive
Yeah.
by the lake. Yeah, Northampton's came in at 10.8 million.
Yeah.
Does that include all of the renovations to the other buildings though?
I don't know, they came in, let me read it, came in $250,000 under budget. It was 26,000 square feet in total. As well, all right, so once the town offices was completed, we temporarily relocated the PD and fire to a remote site and located on the same site sandwiched between the library, the town clerk's office, and the town hall. The safety complex was completed, all while keeping PD and fire active throughout their relocation. Yeah, that includes everything.
Okay.
What was the total?
10.8 was, that was 250,000 under budget.
So that was police, fire,
Oh, I
and
like
town.
the sound of that.
Yeah. And town,
It's 20,
office space.
and it's 26,000 square feet, like granted, like you're not gonna, you, that, like, their fire station's huge. A lot of that's base space, but you're not gonna have nearly that much,
Yeah, right.
so,
No.
which is good.
So, yeah, we like that number.
Much
I'm
better than
optimistic.
28.
So I'm optimistic. When I hear figures, I'm
Completed in October.
optimistic.
Let's pivot the 28 million to 26,000 square feet for 10.
Who did that one?
That's
Ricci, right out of Northampton.
They're the same ones that did the fire department.
The fire department here.
So when would you like to go?
Yes,
Thursday.
Thursday?
What time?
Yes.
Time works for you, Mark.
Should we contact them to see what time works for them?
When are you going?
Or are we
I
just
can-
going to show up?
I could text the deputy chief.
We're getting there.
You're getting there.
This Thursday, we have not decided a time yet.
Mm-mm.
We talking middle of the day? We talking?
The earliest I could get there is probably 9:15. But that doesn't matter.
Anytime works.
I'm open.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
How about 10?
10 a.m.? Where would you like to meet?
There?
Meet there at 10 a.m.?
Yes. Sure.
So would you like to reach out to them, sir?
Doing that now?
If there's an issue with that date or time, then we can reschedule.
Absolutely.
Will they know the numbers of their place, or would it be somebody else that would know that in the town?
It's all public, everything's online,
Okay.
it's all broken down and everything, and their bond payments for the interest, all of it.
The fire chief is the one who was kind of, who's gone now.
Yeah.
Should
Jake McClashen's the fire chief now, the other one.
The other one left. But I had been emailing back and forth with him about how it was to work with them and stuff.
Should we open up that invitation to members of the public as well?
I don't want to overwhelm them.
No.
That's what the committee is
Yeah.
for.
Well, I want to clarify that just in case someone's watching this and they're listening to it and they want to show
Maybe
up at 10 a.m. in
if-
Northampton.
Um,
Please do not.
I think once we progress to the point where we've picked somebody,
This is kind of information only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just to kind of get eyes on a project, on a newer project. That way we can, see quality work and
I-
establish some
A
contact.
point of reference, you need something.
I think it'll be valuable information that we can take a figure and look at what has been constructed and how it was constructed and maybe come up with an idea of doing it better. Maybe they, a design feature where they,
Well, and it's current.
Yeah.
current,
You need
it's
to look at
modern,
something that's-
Did we reach out to Ricci?
I believe
Send them
Letty
an
has.
RFQ?
I did, yes. Because I had reached out to them originally
Yeah, you had.
last
Established contact with them.
summer, whenever we got that other number that we didn't like.
Yes.
And that's not who you respond, who,
No, we were dealing with Weston and Sampson, who have since pretty much ghosted us.
no, I mean, the person the company that has reached out to you so far.
Oh, that's
not
not.
yet.
Okay.
Might not be a bad idea if we have enough, if they have enough, notice, maybe they can meet us there. They're only in Newington, so.
Yeah, the company that reached out to me so far was the H.L. Turner Group
Joe Turner?
out of Concord.
Maybe we can get Ricci to meet us and Northampton.
Yeah.
That might push them to submit something.
You wanna do that little,
No, I think.
Wait on having them meet us there.
yeah, I think.
We haven't really made a decision if we're gonna use them or not.
Yeah.
Well, they might solicit them to put an RFQ in though.
Oh, they haven't even
And
put
they're
it,
the ones that built it, so.
the fair comment? Fair comment, sure.
I contacted them. And they did,
Just there?
no, to
No.
say, hey, we have an RFQ out, because they did build the fire station.
Mm-hmm.
And they do build police and fire stations a lot, seems like, so.
Hopefully they do.
So you are asking them to meet you there, or you're not?
I am not,
not.
I've just sent them the RFQ just to let them know that it's there.
Next.
Next are talking about their options.
Yeah, so that, the last, topic for open discussion would just be, again, alternatives to be evaluated. So again, we talked about PD only, PD with site space for future in a joint facility. And then he put an option in here for other as well, but.
We're all waiting breathlessly to see if we're going on Thursday.
If he says no, I'll call Jake. Maybe the fire chief will say yes.
I like to just show up. Yeah, but not with the whole contingent of.
I don't
Eight
think
different
I don't think they
cars.
have to let me in the back. Okay, so do we want to talk about, as a committee, places that we see, efficiencies that can be gained by doing one or the other of these plans? PD only, combined buildings, separate buildings?
I think it'd be smart to do everything at once. You're eventually gonna outgrow this place, and it's only gonna be more expensive to build on later.
It's a bunch of different philosophies in there. I mean,
I,
let's just, for instance, let's go down a few avenues here, right? The more buildings you own, the more expensive to maintain all of those buildings are. And that's just,
Back to the matter.
is a general fact of life. With the sale of this property, you would want to invest that money in a different building. And really where this is going to come down to me is about price. What are you getting for your money, right? So what are the most expensive things in your home? It'd be your kitchen and your bathrooms. You know, a bedroom is just 4 walls and blank space in between. So the more unity you can combine between a police station and a town hall and those facilities that can be dual used, the cheaper this is all gonna become. The less bathrooms you have to put in, the less kitchenettes you have to put in, or kitchen spaces.
right, but it is going to be cheaper to build just a police station. Like adding.
Oh,
town hall functions
100%.
Always gonna cost more than just police.
Correct, right. But then you have to know that you're going to maintain this building as well, right? And
Do we know how much money?
Well, and the other thing that you should have in thinking overall for long-term planning.
Right.
You're better in the end to have planned space for later.
right,
That is, to me, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Because then you're not spending now quite so much money anywhere near initially, but you're also planning for the future.
Yeah.
So the expansion, I think that needs to be a critical element.
yeah, I think that's a fair comment to say you have 9 officers now. We should probably build this out for 15, right? So
I mean, you need a base.
Or have space where we could put them.
you
later.
could put,
Talking of space,
potential
that's exactly what I'm
expansion,
talking about.
yes.
Yeah, the worst thing we could do is build a structure that we instantly grow out of. Then we just
Right.
wasted
you were
taxpayer
supposed to
dollars
do
and
that.
everyone's.
No, that's just wise and smart planning,
Yeah.
right?
And generally speaking, up is better than out.
Yes. Yeah, I
Because of
agree.
cost, heat, light,
Yep.
all
Roof.
all
That's
the-
that is the goal. So whether it's multi-story, but the basement is all usable space too.
Right, but you have to keep in mind that space has to be ADA compliant.
Yep.
Meaning you have to put an elevator in, and elevators are
But even if you have a basement, you have to have an elevator.
elevator.
So-
Right, if you're gonna utilize that space
You might
as
as well
public
go
space or workspace for employees, that has to still be ADA compliant.
Anybody
So-
know off the top of their head how much money we've sunk into this building over the past 15 years?
I don't think
Yeah,
we should talk about it.
Yeah, we
$20,000
probably shouldn't talk
part
about it.
initially.
Yeah.
And
It's
we all
not-
built it, we in the town built it.
Mm-hmm.
We spent,
There's no comparables.
Well, yeah, I know, we
There's
spend a
no-
lot of money maintaining this building with issues downstairs, so.
I
Yeah.
know we just spent 20,000 on
We are good for
Yeah, you
remediation.
consider the price initially
Yeah.
with the deal.
Yeah, I
Big
think
time.
anybody who's ever attended any public meeting in the town of Brentwood knows that this room is not adequate. It's just not set up properly. We do the best we can with what we have, and that's fine, but if you're gonna think about a new space, this space right here isn't adequate. And using that same room, that same build-out for that you can use with your officers, it's the same build-out that we could use for our public meetings, is a multi-use building.
A multi-use room.
A multi-use room where you have things of contention, you can get the audience space that is justified within the town of Brentwood. So I think those are all things,
Northampton. Yep.
all things that need to be conveyed to the voters, and and give them the price tags of the three individual plans and let them decide. And that, as a voter myself, that's really where it's gonna come down to for me,
Right.
And that's fair.
is knowing those three figures. And-
Right,
and-
because
And that's absolutely
the
fair.
incremental cost to add on a town hall functions to a
Correct.
police building might not be worth it, or might be worth it, but that's where.
The only thing I
Right.
see about those three prices is the way this is written up. The price of the standalone police building includes a price to do work in this building.
Yeah, it has to.
And I
It
think
has
I think that should be a separate price if they want to leave the town hall the way it is and just build a police station.
They can't function in this space anymore. They have outgrown it.
What about with the space downstairs?
We would have to renovate to use the space downstairs.
And,
And they're gonna sell, they talk about, which is crazy.
well, I'm just looking
They're
at
gonna sell
various,
it. In the one instance, they're gonna sell it. In the next instance, they're gonna renovate it. It's gonna come into the picture somehow.
and just have to look at how it's going to be presented and what the costs are. Not to skew one number over another.
It's a valid point, valid comment.
Yeah.
I want integrity and honesty throughout this process.
I mean,
So,
looking at office space here,
Yeah.
this is a small room. You've got a bigger room at the end of the corridor up there. It's used for storage and desks and stuff up there. If there
I'm
was stuff
sorry.
that came, what's the room at the end of the hall?
the
Buildings.
the Sanborn room?
Yeah.
The Sanborn room is really kind of an overflow room. I mean, it's where employees eat their lunch because our break room is so tiny that we
Well-
as a group can't eat together if we wanted to.
Could
Um,
that be utilized downstairs? I'm looking at,
No, you'd have to
what
really,
I'm worried about is throwing numbers on
Mhm.
that's gonna prevent the police department from getting a building.
right,
So
when we,
That's my focus.
no, 100%, but when we look at that, if you want to utilize the downstairs and the upstairs here as a town office, now we have to really incorporate the two floors into one purpose, meaning the whole entire building now has to become ADA compliant. We'll have to install an elevator so employees can get from one level to the
There will
next.
also need to be stairs.
Huh?
You have to have an elevator and stairs.
And stairs, the stairway that actually goes down to the PD is like a basement set of stairs. It's rather,
Hazardous.
Terrifying.
it's a basement set of stairs. But the figure that you're gonna have to get is if we're gonna keep this existing as a town office, the whole thing has to be ADA compliant. Meaning a resident comes in our front door, they want a different department, there has to be a way for that resident to get to that different department within this building, through that front door, not going outside in the rain and walking all the way down and around and in
Like you do in the
through
line.
through the
Might have
police station
this
is now.
room, Because the new building might have the police station plus meeting.
I mean, these are conversations that will be ongoing. I mean, if you wanted to blow these two, take these, my office and Andrea's office, blow them out, blow this wall, you know what I mean? You could expand this whole entire thing, but then you're gonna have to reconfigure where the office space is going to be.
No, I'm just worried about, this started out as a committee way
Mhm.
back when for the police department. New
Yep.
police building.
Mhm.
Now it's morphed into a town complex. And
It's not, it doesn't have to be a town complex.
What would
my-
those
my
now,
focus
what would those
is on
reasons
a-
be?
Is on a police station. And the haves and the must-haves, if you will, versus
Mhm.
the nice-to-haves.
No,
But you also have to understand, Eric, that we want to be educated on all of our options.
Right.
And so you can't just focus on just a police station because we don't know if it's cost effective for us to do both. We want to look at that and have that as an option.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's
You
all.
also have to be able to sell it, you know. We don't
Sure.
wanna take another 4 or 5 years.
I know,
to
but
But that's why
all
we're
we're
trying to get
doing is
numbers.
getting educated. That's all we're doing here. We have not made a decision either way, and we're just getting educated. That's all we're doing. So we want to have our options open.
We're doing due
I agree
diligence.
with the options, but what I'm looking at this is making sure that the options are separated. We're a standalone. If we didn't do anything to this building but move the police out,
We can't
into
do
their
nothing
own
in this
building.
building. We,
that should be an option. Is it a good option? Maybe not, but that ought to be an option versus putting in whatever number it was to fix this building. I think those are all options
But that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying.
except the way this is, I'm just looking at the,
so we get to decide what product they deliver to us. We get to decide. So if that is, if we want to have that as two separate numbers that we can either add together or leave separate, then we could do that. I think is what Eric said, that we get to decide.
You can do that. You give them,
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, they work for us at that point. So,
Right.
you know, if we don't like the product that they give us, we go back to the drawing board and say, hey, take this out, add this, you know, exclude this portion of the project, whatever, you
I
know.
mean, we're also looking at a timeline if you're looking to have something to present, which
next year.
Oh,
is gonna be very tough.
yes, we are very aware of that.
I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get there, but it'd be nice.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah, a lot of it is just getting,
things had gone differently last year, we probably would have gotten there.
Well, you gotta get that person. Once you get,
exactly, once we have that person to work with, we're in a very, much better spot.
with a commitment.
yeah, once this,
Yes, with a
once this
Then you've got
football,
6 workloads lined up before us.
Exactly, yeah.
And you have to and that's a question you have to ask.
Yep, yeah, we need someone who's gonna be responsive and,
Mhm.
you know, do they need to cater to every, no, but they need to return phone calls in a timely fashion, emails, stuff like
But I would very,
Show
com-
work
they
product.
need to tell you what they have
Yeah.
on their plate this
that. I
year.
agree, yeah.
Very specifically. It's a perfectly legitimate question.
Yeah.
We always did it when I worked when we built the MVRTA, we built that bus station in April.
Yeah.
We knew each of the contractors. You got this, and this outstanding. We have a deadline, we were under budget, and
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that once this football is kicked, it'll move quickly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hoping.
so the last item on here is open discussion. I think we've been done a pretty good job of having an open discussion this whole time. So,
We
um,
wanna see if Dexter has any.
I'll open up to public comment.
We'll say 2:30.
Your floor.
Is there anything that you learned from last experience?
Mm-hmm.
What needs to change?
Cost,
I got that $20 million in cash.
cost, right.
So what needs,
I know.
I can tell you.
I remember sitting here,
Mhm.
the comment was, yeah, I went from, $4 million to $20 million. It was so very cavalier in the response.
That's a personality thing
Well,
at the time,
it wasn't,
for lack of a lighter way to put it.
And
and the committee that I see now, way above what I saw
Right.
before. So I
And-
think you're heading in the right direction.
I'll be honest, I don't know if that 28 million was thrown out there to sabotage this project.
I don't,
You know, I would hope not, but it was thrown out there and
I'm gonna answer the question, which is what's changed for me, is I'm now realizing how important it is to be able to work closely with this company so that when we say, hey, we don't need that, or that's not what we want, they will be responsive.
So do you go to them first and say, this is what we want, and then they bring it to you? Or is it they give what they think and they present it to you? Is that how it was the last
That
time?
is so I was not in charge. I don't think anyone in this room was in charge of anything last time. That is how it happened.
Right.
I know, it is easier, instead of coming up with a whole idea out of your head, sometimes to look at something and say, this doesn't work, this works, this doesn't work. So now that we've had that initial look, I think it will be easier to see where we can maybe save duplication of spaces or make some spaces smaller, or push out some of the build out of certain spaces till later. Like, I know one of the spaces that we had talked about is you don't need a space for a detective right now, but it's possible in the next 10 years you might.
I didn't hear what you said last.
Detective. So like, he doesn't need a space for detective right now, but in 10, 15 years he might. So we don't need to build that out right now.
Right.
The
The generally building
Yeah.
with the future in mind is the way to go.
Yep.
No matter
Oh,
what you do.
100%.
No, you have to, yeah.
Just plain
But-
common sense.
Yep, so the floor plan that they gave us had all of the things for all of the full 50-year build out all at once, and I think that we all agree that we don't need that
Yeah.
right now, so.
It's good planning, it's good advertising, it's good everything.
Yeah, you look at the building that we're sitting in right now,
Yeah.
and think about, well, what it was.
What it was.
What it was.
Literally a one-room schoolhouse.
We had to register our cars in a booth. Like, literally, you stood in the booth out front, and you just look at the, you know, like, the good old days, right? But you get an addition on an addition on an addition. So,
Yeah.
yeah, building something with future in mind is always a better option.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For everybody, for like your public, to your taxpayers, to everybody.
Everybody.
And the most common sense, just
Mhm.
plain common sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise someone else is gonna be stuck with this. And,
You wasted your money,
yeah, exactly.
because 2 years or 5 years, it's out of date.
Mhm.
It doesn't make any sense. But the original one here is because it was
Hey.
$20,000 donated by Bobby Severn.
Right.
We all built it.
Yeah.
You can't count that in
No,
any way, shape, or form.
no, it served us well.
Good. Hey, listen, 19, you're talking about what, 80, 86 maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, you're talking, you can't really complain.
No, it served us
It's
well.
had a good long run.
It's had a good long run. It served us well. I have
It
no
served us well.
complaints. I have no complaints at all.
Um,
No association owns this building?
Just think
No,
about
no,
it.
mhm.
Before I forget, I would just like to schedule
Bingo.
our next meeting date. According to the timeline here, we have committee review May 1st through 7th, so would you guys be open to Tuesday, May 6th?
May 6th?
Yeah, same time.
Tuesday, sure.
I won't be here. I will be on vacation, first time. Going away,
That sounds lovely.
but anybody
Yeah.
else.
What, same time?
Yeah, we'll do the same time. Yep.
You can call in if you want to call. Or you could watch.
Middle of the day?
We're
during
live
the week?
streaming right
Probably
now.
Not a good idea. That's a Dear Chief letter.
That's a dear chief. What are you doing? Just the committee I'm on. Because I'm on vacation the following week, so.
I'm on vacation.
Next meeting.
You're talking about dealing with Richie before, did they have their own construction people, or they go to subs for everything?
I have no idea.
That I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sure most companies sub it out at this point.
The sub work is a little tough, right?
Yeah.
That is a question.
I
that
mean,
we will-
anybody of that size just has consistent subs that they work with. So
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Unless they've got some other big project.
Unless,
Yep. So we'll do that. Other than that, motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I-
All right.